So do you have a feeling that your social anxiety could be linked to low self-esteem? If so, stick around because I want to help you understand how social anxiety and low self-esteem can be related. And then more importantly, I want to show you how to develop rock solid, unshakable self-esteem so it's no longer an issue for you. So let's go. And so before we get into this self-esteem, let's define it. Let's get really clear on what we mean by self-esteem, okay? And self-esteem, you have to know that you are not born with self-esteem, okay? You can only develop self-esteem during your lived experience, okay? So it's not one of those things that you're either doomed at birth or you have it or you don't. You can always, no matter where you're at in life, you can develop healthy self-esteem. So self-esteem, let's define it. Let's get really clear because I really want us to be on the same page as we discuss this issue of self-esteem. So self-esteem is the experience of being competent to deal with the basic challenges of life and being worthy of happiness. And a lot of social anxiety sufferers, they really struggle with this. So for example, they don't feel normal. A lot of the people I speak to, they don't feel normal. Their whole goal is to feel normal. And basically that's what it means, is being able to trust in your thought processes and being able to deal with the basic challenges of life. Being normal and just having normal everyday problems. That's one of the goals that social anxiety sufferers have. And another part is they feel stuck. So they feel like they're in a rut. They're completely avoidant of social situations, people, and everything. So they don't feel like they deserve good things in life. And so to develop this rock solid, unshakable self-esteem, it has nothing to do with what you are. It has to do with how you are in the world. So it has nothing to do with your friends, your job, your family, the way you were brought up. That's what, right? It has to do with how you are, okay? And what I mean by how you are is, does your behavior, does it align with your personal standards for yourself? And that's the big thing, is do these two aspects of you, your personal standards and your behavior, do they come together in congruence? And one of the big misconceptions out there is this emphasis on positive self-talk or self-affirmations, repeating to yourself, I am confident, I'm a good person, and things like that. Now, I'm not saying that's not a good practice. You know, it has its place, but if, again, self-esteem is how you are in the world, how. So if you're repeating these lines to yourself, but you're not updating your behavior, if you're not aligning your behavior to align with your personal standards, it's not going to have any effect on your self-esteem. So let's get more into the personal standards aspect. You got the personal standards and you got the behavior, and you want congruence between the two. Now, where do these personal standards come from? They come from your authentic self, okay? Every human being has this aspect to them, this authentic self, and it has intentions for your life. And everybody has an idea of what this means. Everybody has this idea of their true selves, their authentic selves. And if it's unclear, just think your authentic self is what's making you watch this video. Your authentic self is what's wanting you to overcome social anxiety. Your authentic self just it has a higher desire for your life. It wants the deep relationships, it wants the fulfilling career, and it wants the connection with other people. It wants to be anxiety free. That's your authentic self. And we've all had those moments in our lives where we felt completely aligned, completely in flow state, happy, joyful. That's when we were in complete congruence and we were living our life from our authentic selves. And so again, your authentic self, it has intentions for your life. It's a very purposeful force within you. We teach 4 of these intentions in Authentic Power Academy, and today we're gonna cover one of these. So one of these intentions is harmony. Your authentic self, that personal standard, is to be in harmony with people, other people in your life, and with the world around you. Now, when you have social anxiety though, this is the tricky thing, is you're constantly bombarded with anxiety, negative feelings. So your authentic self will want you to be in harmony and go this way in your life, but your negative feelings take you in the opposite direction. And so for example, let's say my social anxiety makes me completely avoid people. Again, your personal standard, your authentic self wants harmony, but your social anxiety is making you completely avoid them. It's in the opposite direction. Or let's say you're around people, but you're just constantly self-censoring yourself, thinking of what to say, being perfectionistic, and you're not really connecting with them. You're there, but you're really alone. Can you see how your authentic self is wanting harmony, but your social anxiety is pushing you in the opposite direction? And what that does is it creates this separation within you. And when that happens, your self-esteem actually plummets as a result, right? Like, how can you feel good about yourself if you're not being authentic, okay? And every time you create that separation, because your brain is constantly watching, it's constantly interpreting your behaviors, and when they don't go in the direction of your authentic self and you're creating the separation and going in the opposite direction, it interprets that as I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy, and it goes back to that second criteria of the definition, not being worthy of happiness. That's how your brain interprets that experience, that behavior. And so if you want to know more intricately the link between social anxiety and self-esteem, then download my free ebook. I'm going to link it below the video, and it's going to be extremely informative for you to download because it's going to show you how your mind's been programmed to actually go in the direction of those negative feelings. And it's going to give you a lot of clarity and just release all that burden you're carrying, because you're going to have a roadmap to help you move in the direction of your authentic self instead of in the direction of your negative feelings, and then creating more and more low self-esteem for yourself. So I encourage you to read through that, get the clarity you need, and just break out of that low self-esteem and social anxiety for good. And so going back to developing this rock solid self-esteem, this unshakable self-esteem, and how do you do that? Again, remember, self-esteem is how you are in the world. And it doesn't matter so much as to what's going on inside your mind, but there has to be a behavior, an action step from your higher desire, your authentic self in the real world, in the material world. There needs to be action. And when you take that action, that's gonna serve as feedback for your brain that I'm worth it, okay? Now, you have to be careful here, because remember, there's intentions of your higher self, and then there's your negative feelings, okay? Now, sometimes people, what they do is they try to overstretch on this. They try to take massive action, and it ends up backfiring, because what they'll do is they'll have negative feelings of inadequacy, and they really want to overcome this social anxiety, this low self-esteem. So they'll go on, they'll start talking to strangers, forcing themselves to get out there a little too much. But again, it's not to create harmony. It's not in the direction of their authentic self on this side. It's actually to deal with these negative feelings. And so it's actually these negative feelings that are driving the bus, not the authentic self. And when these negative feelings take over and you put yourself at risk and you don't get the exact outcome you want, it just leads to more negative feelings, because again, it's about that separation. It's about that separation inside and aligning the two, not moving in this direction, which is gonna make that self-esteem plummet even more and more and more. And so the key approach here is something we call working at your edge, okay? So again, these negative feelings, they could be so overwhelming, the fear, the feelings of inadequacy, that you don't take any action at all. So again, that's not working at your edge, it's working way before that, okay? Now, if you challenge yourself too much though, if you stretch too much because feelings of inadequacy or these negative feelings are driving you to do too much to prove something, then that's not working at your edge either. That's going way too far, and it can actually backfire. So you really want to do something challenging, right? You cannot move into your full potential unless you feel a bit of negative feelings, but challenge those negative feelings in order to move in the direction of your authentic self. So it could be, maybe for you, it's just having a coffee, call somebody up, go and have a coffee. Or maybe it's just a phone call, have a difficult conversation. Or maybe it's going to that party and just doing your best to stay present and in harmony with the other people. It's gonna be different for other people. Maybe for you, you're a bit more advanced. It's gonna be straight up public speaking on the spot. You know, it's different for everybody. But the key is not too far, not too little, right at the edge and in the direction that is in line with your authentic self, your personal standards. And again, one of those things is harmony with others and the people around you, okay? And if you need more help with this and you feel like the negative feelings are just completely overwhelming, there's no clarity, and you can't create a distinction between your authentic self and your negative feelings, and you can't live that life of authenticity, then join our Facebook group. I'm gonna link it below the video. I constantly do Facebook Lives. I do live trainings weekly. I do live Q&As, and you'll be able to also connect and develop relationships with people in the group, share your experience around social anxiety, release all the shame and secrecy that comes with even having this condition. So it's gonna be a great place where you can come in, connect, have that support and that accountability to keep you in the direction of your authentic self, which is where we all wanna be, all right? So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one. All right, peace out.